Hello friends, welcome to this new video. So in this video, we are going to create this kind of dashboard. Okay, so basically this dashboard is for one retailer which is present in USA. Okay, so I got this data from Kaggle. So basically, there are so many features of this dashboard. So the first thing is, or the main important point which we are going to learn in this particular video is what is the use of slicer, how it acts as a filter, and how to create it. Okay, so basically this one for quarter, month, retailer, region, and beverage. Okay, so these are called as slicers, right? It will act as a filter. Now I'll tell you how to create this in our video. Okay, so basically based on your selection, the data will change. See, if I select quarter one, so data will change according to the quarter one. If I want to select quarter one and three, so accordingly data will change. See, okay. Now let's say from month we want only the data for February, then August, and then September. So according to the selection, the data will get changed. Now we can like select a retailer as well, region as well. Okay, let's select Midwest. West as well. Okay, and based on the beverage brand, we can get the data like this. Okay, so I'll tell you how to create this kind of dashboard, like based on our customization. Okay, in our video. Now, what I'll do, I'll give the data set in the description box. I'll give the data set in the description box. You can also download the data set and you can follow the video for creating this kind of dashboard. Okay, so we know the very first thing while creating the dashboard is to load the data. Okay, the very first thing while create the dashboard is to load the data. So basically there are multiple sources for loading the data. So today our data set is present in Excel workbook format. Okay, so we will use Excel workbook as in our data set. So I'll tell you how to load the particular data and what are the next steps after loading the data. Okay, so we will create this kind of dashboard step by step. So the very first step is to load the data. For loading the data, as we know, our data source is Excel workbook, right? So you can directly click here on Excel workbook for loading the data. Okay, so now my data is present in download folder in this data folder. So this is the data set. Okay, I'll just open it. So it will hardly take 10 to 15 seconds to get loaded. Okay, so after load, like when the data is loaded, no, you will get a window like this. So basically it means that in this Excel workbook only one subsheet is there, which is sheet 1. So I'll tick mark it. It will show the preview. After checking the preview, you can click on load button. Okay, so now see, our data is loaded. So when the data is completely loaded, on the right hand side you will get that particular sheet name and on the column names whatever which are present in that particular tab. Okay, so we know in our Excel workbook there was only one tab, okay, which is sheet 1, and under sheet 1 there will be different columns. I'll show you. So basically now see, the data is loaded, already loaded. So the tab name is sheet 1. So in this sheet 1 these are the different columns. Okay, so for checking the data, okay, what we have, you can click on this one, data. So it will show the preview of our data. So basically multiple columns are there in the sheet 1. First column is for retailer, second column is for retailer ID, the third column is for invoice date, the fourth column is for region, fifth column is for state, sixth column is for city, then beverage brand, then price per unit, then units sold. We have total sales as well, operating profit, operating margin. Okay, so as these things, okay, total sales, operating profit, and price per unit, right? So these things are showing the amount, right? So we should have a dollar symbol or currency symbol before it, right? So I'll tell you how to do this as well. Basically, as we have only one table, right, in our data set, so there is no need of checking the model. So basically we have to check model when we have multiple tables. For showing the connection between the tables, we have to check it here, but as today we have only one table, so there is no need to build any relationship with other tables, right? So we will directly go here on our report page. So basically the area where we are going to create dashboard is called as canvas. So this blank area where we are going to create our visuals, different visuals, is called as canvas. Okay, so what I'll do before proceeding, Okay, the main thing is see this total sales, so this should be in currency, right? So I'll click on here, currency symbol. Okay, then for price per unit as well, I'll click on this currency symbol. Okay, so now everything will be in dollar. Okay, so let's create our dashboard now. So the very first thing is to select our desktop background. Now how to apply the background on canvas? Okay, I'll tell you how to do this. Okay, now we have to apply background. So while applying the background on canvas, you have to go to format your report page. Okay, under this you will get an option of canvas background. So select canvas background. Now here we have an option to select color. If you want to give the background as plain color, you can directly select color from here. Otherwise you can set as an image. Okay, so now in this image option we have to provide the location of that particular image. So I'll go to desktop, then in this particular folder I have my desktop background. I'll select this one. So select fit as, instead of normal fit you can select fit, so that the image will take entire area of your canvas. And now we have given the image location, it has already been loaded, but it is not visible on our canvas because of this transparency. So we have to reduce the transparency level to 0. Now your background image is clearly visible. So basically this image we will use as a background of our report page, or we can say dashboard page. Okay, so this was the very first thing. Now the next thing is we have to create slices. So first go to format your report page. Okay, now the slices for selection, right, which will act as a filter. So I'll click on this one, this icon. So this is for slicer. If I click on one, like visual will open. So inside this we have to give the field value. So as we want to create slicer for month, what I'll do, I'll go to invoice date hierarchy, and I'll drag month to this field. Okay, but now the main important thing here is I don't want the slicer in the form of checkbox, right? I want slicer in the form of buttons, right? So for that what we will do, I'll go to customize our visual, I'll go to slicer settings. So instead of vertical list I'll select tile. Okay, so formatting we will do later on. Okay, I'll just give the position, correct position. Yeah, so 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, this size of the slicer will be fine. Now the next thing, the next slicer for our dashboard will, okay, next slicer of our dashboard will be the quarter. Okay, so I'll select this one, I'll just paste it. So what we can do now, see, we can just okay, I'll just copy it, I'll just paste it, I'll drag it here. So in this particular slicer, instead of month, so what I'll do, I'll uncheck the month, we want quarter, right? So I'll drag this quarter to this field. So 4 quarters are there. Okay, so based on our selection it will show the figures. Okay, so these are our two slicers. Now we want to create more slicer for retailer. Okay, for region. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this slicer, I'll paste it like this. I'll just align it at one position. Okay, so in this, instead of quarter, I'll I'll uncheck the quarter. Okay, we want region, so I'll drag the region to the field. Okay, so we have these 5 region basically in our data set. Okay, now the next thing which we will do is I'll again copy the slicer, I'll paste it. Okay, now instead of region we want retailer, so I'll just uncheck region and I'll drag retailer here. So we have this 5 retailers in our data set. Now basically we have to create one more slicer here. So the slicer will be for beverage brand. Okay, the slicer will be for beverage brand. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this one, I'll paste this, I'll just resize it. Okay, so in this, instead of retailer we want beverage brand. Okay, so I'll just drag beverage brand to field. Okay, now for this particular slicer, what we can do, we can give drop down option, right? So I'll go to format your visual slicer setting. I'll click on drop down. I'll just align it. Yeah. Now we have each and every slices. Now what we will do, we will just format this. Okay. So the very first formatting is to disable the background. So I'll go to format your visual. I'll go to general setting, go to effect, and here the background is enabled. I'll disable it. Okay. The next thing will be visual border. So I'll enable visual border. The color of the border I'll give select as white. Okay. And roundness corner also we can give to the border. So I'll select 20 here. Now see, our slicer will look like this. Now basically in this particular slicer, I want to do one more thing. Okay, before that, quarter 4, yeah. So I want to do one more thing basically to give the background color for this button. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll again select the slicer. I'll select this format your visual option. So inside the values I have one option for background. Okay, so I can select the background color. So the background color which I'll select will be this one. Yeah, this looks good. Okay, and all other thing for values and all I'll select bold and black color so that everything will be clearly visible. Yes. Now the next thing will be this heading for quarter. So for that you have to select slicer header. So inside the slicer header you can select the color. I'll give black. Okay, I'll give this one, and I have already made it as bold. Okay, so this will be clearly visible. Now see, you don't have to do this for each and every slicer. What you can do, you can directly copy the format from this slicer and you can paste on the other one. So for doing that, just select the formatted slicer, click on format painter and click on the next slicer. So accordingly the slicer will get formatted. Again click on format painter, click on this. So see, we have formatted the slicers very quickly. Okay, now this is done. The next thing in our dashboard is to create the visuals. Okay, now before creating the visual, there are certain particular numbers, the numbers like total sales, total units sold, okay, operating profit, what is the operating margin. Okay, so that important number we have to show in the form of important numbers, right? So for that particular thing we have to use card visual. So I'll click on this one. Okay, this is the card visual. So when you click on this one, you have to enter only one thing, which is field, what number you want to show. So let's say I want to show total sales. I'll select this one. So this is the total sale. Okay, so you can just resize this one like this. Okay, now we will format this one as well. So basically again you have to go to format your visual. So this number 8.68, this is called as call out value. Okay, so I'll go to call out value. For making it bold, I'll select bold. Color, I'll select again yellow one so that it will match with the background. The next thing, which is this one, sum of total sales. Okay, this is called as category label. So I'll again make it bold and I'll select this color. Okay, the next thing is we have to disable the background. So I'll go to general, go to effect. I'll disable the background. Okay, this sum of total sales is not visible. So I'll go to visual. I'll select some light color like this. Okay, now it is visible. So for background, we have already disabled. We will enable the visual border. The color of the border will select as white and roundness corner will select 20. Okay, now so we want to show four numbers. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this one. I'll just copy these two at a time. So as we have four important numbers, I'll paste it here. Okay, so basically the first number is showing sum of total sales. The second number will show total units sold. So I'll untick this total sales and I'll drag total unit to this field. Okay, the next thing will be this one. So I'll again untick total sales and I'll select operating profit. So it will show the total profit. And at last, I want to show operating margin as well. So I'll drag this one to here. So instead of sum, we have to show average operating margin always in terms of percentage. So the average operating margin for our given data set is 36.31%, right? So this is also done. The next thing which we'll do is to align it properly. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll select these four numbers. Okay, I'll go to format, click on align and click on distribute vertically. It is already distributed and you have to distribute it horizontally. So I'll click on distribute horizontally. Okay, now see the space between two card visual is uniform. Okay, now the next thing is we have to create the visuals. Okay, how to show this particular data which is in the form of table in terms of graph, we'll check. Okay, so first thing we will show total monthly sales. Okay, total monthly sales or total sales with the help of month. So for that particular thing I'll select stacked column chart. Okay, so under this stacked column chart I'll just align it a bit. Okay, I'll increase the size. Okay, so in this on x-axis we'll keep month, on y-axis we'll keep total sales. Okay, like this. So for formatting it, what I'll do, I'll again go to general. The very first thing which we know is to disable the background, visual border enable, color white, and this 20, roundness corner, rounded corner, near about 20 you can keep. Okay, now the next thing here is to give the color of the bar. Okay, so before that we'll do one by one. So on x-axis we'll show the numbers with the help of, yeah, this is clearly visible. We'll make it bold so that it will be more clearly visible. We'll select light color. Yeah, so the month are visible. Now title of x-axis again we'll make it bold. Color we'll select the same. Then same formatting we have to do for y-axis. Value bold, color same. Then title of y-axis bold with same color. Okay, now the next thing which we can do here is grid line. Okay, so instead of dotted we'll select solid grid line with the same color. Okay, go to general. So in this general, title, select title, make it bold, center align and with the same color so that it will be clearly visible. Okay, so this is the graph for total sales by month. We will format this column later on. The next thing which we can do is we can create one donut chart in this particular space. Okay, so in this particular donut chart we can show total units sold by beverage brand, we can say. I'll select legend. So total units sold by beverage brand, and the donut chart is like this. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this format from here. I'll paste it here. Okay, now everything is visible except this one. So what I'll do, I'll click on format your visual. So in data label for values I'll make it bold, and I'll select the same color. Okay, now data labels are also visible. Now the next thing will be legend. So the position I'll select as top center, text bold, and same color. Okay, so this is also visible. So for this particular thing, we can do one more thing, which is data label. We'll enable it. Okay, so that the numbers will also be visible at that particular place. For data label values, we'll do like this. Okay, now everything is there. So the next thing which we are going to do is we'll create like 2 to 3 more visuals in our remaining space so that we can show the entire data in terms of graph. Okay, the next graph which we will be making is we will use this one, basically stacked bar chart. Okay, so on this particular graph, what we will do, we will show total sales in terms of retailer. So I'll select total sales on x-axis. On y-axis, I'll select retailer. Okay, so we have 4 retailers basically. So this is the total sales for retailer. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this format and I'll paste it so that I don't need to format it again. Okay, there is no need to format it again. Okay, so I'll just resize it. Okay, this is fine. The next graph would be for total unit sold by city. Okay, so for that, the visual which we can use is this tree map. I'll select this tree map. Okay, I'll just copy the format. I'll paste it here. So basically in this tree map, what we are going, okay, I'll just paste this tree map here. Okay, I'll drag this tree map here. Okay, so in this tree map, we want to show total units sold by city. So category will be city. I'll drag this city to the category and the values will be total units sold. So based on this one, so there are so many cities, right? But we want top 10, let's say. So what I'll do for selecting this top 10, we can apply filter for top 10. Now how to do this? See, when you select the visual, so we have one filter pane here. Okay, in this filter pane, as we have selected city, you can click on this particular arrow. So 3 types of filter you can apply. Basic filter, based on your selection you can do. Then we have advanced filtering option, and the third option is top n. So we can select top n here. So basically how many cities you want. Let's say we want 10 cities, top 10 cities. So I'll type 10, by which value, based on totals. Okay, let's say based on total units sold value, we want this top 10 cities. You can just apply filter. So see, these are the top 10 cities, okay, by total units sold. Now we can create one more visual. Okay, the visual will be donut chart only. So I'll select donut chart. I'll just resize it. Okay, I'll copy the format. I'll paste it. Okay, so in this particular donut chart, the thing which we want to show is total sales by city. Okay, total sales by state. So I'll select legend as, instead of total sales, I'll select total sales as value, sorry, and for legend I'll select state. So there are so many states, right? So we want, let's say, top 8. So again, in this filter option, state filter type will be top n. We want 8 only, so I'll type 8 here. Then by which value, total sales, and click on apply filter. So top 8 cities data you will get. Okay, so this is the thing. Now only one thing is remaining here. Okay, and the thing is basically, okay, only one thing is remaining, and the thing is to just format this one. Now how to do this, I'll tell you. Okay, let's format the donut chart one by one. So basically I'll select this one. So the very basic thing of formatting is just use one color with different shade. Okay, so go to visual option. In slices you'll get option for selection of color. Okay, so what I'll do for the very first one, I'll take this shed red color one. Okay, then little lighter, then third one, then fourth, then fifth, and at last, which is remaining, we can select it as this one, right? So this looks good now. The next thing which we will do is for this one. So for this we can use yellow color shade. Okay, dark, then lighter. Okay, now the next thing is to format this one. So for this, what we will do, the only one thing is remaining in this particular graph is to give the color. Okay, so basically instead of blue color we will give some light color so that the graph is clearly visible, right? And for this one also we can give the color. So for this graph we will use this color. So basically no, now the main thing here is we can show average line for these two particular column chart and bar chart, right? Now how to show this? So basically what you have to do, just select your visual, go to this analytics pane. Okay, after going this one, there are so many things: constant line, okay, constant line and error bar. So basically we'll select constant line. Now which line you want to show? Average one. So what you have to do, click on add line. So here in this line, so I'll just type the name here, average. Okay, now color of the line you can select, style of the line and position also. Okay, so I'll tell you how to do this now. So basically the thing is we cannot show average line for this particular graph. Okay, but let's say instead of this column chart we have line chart like this. Okay, and we want to show average line of this. So for that you have to go to analytics pane. Okay, now here average line, add one line. So see this dotted blue color line, it is the average. Okay, but for this data we don't, there is no need to show average line. Okay, so I guess everything is done. Now what we will do, okay, basically here we will add one icon and we can add one text box as well. So what I'll do, I'll go to insert, I'll insert text box, I'll type the name. Is just increase the size. I'll make it bold, middle line. Color I'll select white so that it will be clearly visible, and size 16 will be good. Okay, what we have to do, I'll select this visual basically, and I'll go to effect and disable the background. Okay, so because of the background, whatever we have written, it was not visible. Now the next thing is I'll drag this one. Okay, I'm facing a problem while dragging. Yeah. Okay, now we can add one icon as well. If you want, you can add icon, otherwise it's fine. You can just increase the size. Instead of 16, you can select 18 or 20, so it will look good. Okay, so done. So this is our complete dashboard. So basically one more thing which we can do, if you want to, you can use tooltip in your dashboard. Okay, so we have already discussed tooltip in our previous video. I'll tell you how to do basically. For that, what you have to do, you have to add a page. Let's say the very important thing which you want to show is in terms of pie chart. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll add one page in this canvas setting, and type you have to select tooltip actually. Okay, after selecting tooltip, go to visual and select pie chart. Okay, now let's say we want to show some data, okay, for total say, okay, based let's say we want to show the data for operating profit. So for values, I'll drag operating profit, and in terms of we want to show by beverage brand. Okay, so I'll do like this one. Now the next thing is I'll just format it, so I'll just copy the format from this one and I'll paste the format here. I'll go to effect and I'll disable the background. So basically the main thing here is chart type. So I'll select do not. Okay, the things are not clearly visible. We'll format it again. Okay, so general background, I'll enable the background. Background color, we will keep it as this. Okay, then title bold, text color will be black. Go to visual, legend, text color bold, black. Now data label, values, bold is already there and we'll select black color. So the like the numbers are not clearly visible because the background color and the text color was same. Okay, now what we will do, so basically what I was thinking is when we take cursor to some data, so it should show this graph for that particular data on which we will drag the cursor. Okay, so that is called as a tooltip. Now we are using tooltip for beverage brand. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll select this chart, okay, this visual. I'll go to this one, go to general, under tooltip is already enabled. Okay, so type will be report page and the page I'll select as page 3 because we want to use page 3 as a tooltip. Now see, if I am like selecting default here, so basically when I drag up my cursor, so it will show the data in the form of that the month name is October. On that particular month, the total sales is 623,375, right? But I want to use tooltip, so what I'll do, type, I'll select report page and page 3 because we want to use page 3 as a tooltip. Now when I'll take the cursor to this, it will show the data in the form like this. So basically the total sales is 0.6 million. Okay, and the division of sales in terms of beverage brand is like this. Okay, and this looks good actually. Okay, now if you want to do same thing for this visual, so again report page, page 3. Now if you drag the cursor, it will show data like this. Okay, so as this graph is for beverage brand only, so it will give the data for one beverage brand, so no need to use tooltip here. So we'll select default like this. Okay, or we will disable the tooltip for this particular graph. Now again for this one, tooltip is enabled. Report page, page 3. For this one as well, page 3. Okay, now when we drag, it will show the data like this. Okay, so this is our final dashboard. So now we will just check whether our dashboard is working or not based on our selection. For checking that, what we have to do, we'll just click on quarter number 1. So when we click on quarter number 1, the data should sort based on that particular quarter. So for this quarter number 1, the total sales is this much, the total units sold are this much. Okay, this is the operating profit, and operating profit margin is this one. So let's say we want to add one more quarter here, quarter 4. So the data is like this, and it's changing actually. Now let's say we want data for February, November and December only. So I'll select these three. So based on the selection, the data is changing. Okay. Now we can select beverage brand as well. So basically, let's say we want these three only. So data is changing. Okay. Now retailer, we want dream company and physicip. Okay, so this is the data for this one. I'll select one more. Okay, the next one, let's say we want data for the south region only. So for south region, this is the data. Okay, now here we have given the option for clear selection as well. So when you click on this one, okay, every selection will be cleared. Whatever you have selected, it will be cleared. Okay, so I hope you got the idea how to create a dashboard like this. Okay, so basic thing is you have to decide a proper background, you have to select proper visuals. Okay, and the third thing is you have to use color formatting. So see the basic thing here, while giving any color to any visual, no, think of background color. If background is dark, then select the color visual appropriately so that the color contrast is there. Okay, whatever the numbers you want to show, it should be clearly visible and all. So for that you can use a color hunt website. Okay, on that particular website there are so many shades of color, you can directly copy the color code and paste. Okay, so based on that color combination, your dashboard will look good. Okay, so thank you for joining in this video with me. I hope you have liked this video. If you have any query regarding this particular dashboard, you can just comment below. Okay, I'll try to resolve that particular query as soon as possible. So thank you for joining.